Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So today we are going to rank all 18 vampires from the Blade franchise, and you'd be surprised how long it actually took me to make this list, guys. I kept forgetting one, making the list and having to redo it, but I've got all 18 vampires. I'm going to rank them from the weakest all the way to the strongest, and just to add, Blade won't be on this list. He's not a full vampire and he's the main guy anyway. We're all very much aware of how strong he is. Anyway guys, let's kick it off with number 18, Pearl. Pearl is a morbidly obese vampire archivist seen in Blade. It makes you wonder why someone so physically obese was turned into a vampire in the first place, as for whatever strength they have, they are limited to basically no movement, and it also gives a comedic value to the movie. While knowledgeable and important to Deacon Frost, Pearl completely relies entirely on others for protection. His lack of physical strength and combat ability places him at the very bottom of this list. He's basically there for the taking at any point, and we see how vulnerable he is when Blade pays him a visit. Number 17, Verlaine. A member of the Blood Pack in Blade 2, Verlaine is one of the less physically imposing vampires. While she has enhanced speed and agility, her combat abilities and overall strength are not as developed as those of her Blood Pack counterparts. She kinda seems like a spot filler, if I'm honest. It's a case of, well, let's just throw a female vampire in there who looks the part. Quite a forgettable vampire, if I'm honest. Rightfully in at number 17. Number 16, Chupa. Another member of the Blood Pack in Blade 2, Chupa is a strong and aggressive vampire, but he is less disciplined and less skilled than his comrades. His strength is undermined by his impulsive nature. In saying that, Chupa is still worth having on your side. He can do a decent job, but like Verlaine before him, there's not too much to his character. He's also rather forgettable, and from a movie standpoint, it just seems like he's filling a gap like Verlaine in the Blood Pack vampire gang. Number 15, Marcus Van Scriver. A vampire from Blade the series, Marcus Van Scriver is a relatively powerful vampire with strong leadership qualities. Now, I like Marcus as a character. He's cunning, manipulative, especially when it comes to leading his revolt against the House of Catan Purebloods. He has two faces, the businessman and the vampire. As I said, very smart, but his combat abilities and strength are not as developed or even threatening as the top tier vampires on this list. He was an enjoyable character in Blade the series, and one of the few things that was actually decent about it, but unfortunately it was cancelled, and it's very clear why that was. Number 14, Quinn. Quinn. The vampire that just keeps getting his ass handed to him by Blade every single time they meet. It actually gets funny at one point with Blade thinking of different ways to harm Quinn, and saying that it's just Blade that can get the better of him. In reality, Quinn is Deacon Frost's right-hand man. He's genuinely a good fighter, but he lets his arrogance get the better of him every time, and believes he's more powerful than he actually is. He takes a lot of joy in killing and is a character you just love to hate. Good, but not that good. Deserves his place at number 14. Number 13, Lighthammer. A member of the Blood Pack in Blade 2, Lighthammer is known for his physical strength and combat skills. Basically, he's really strong and welcomes any challenge. He can even continue to fight at his best when he's injured, and it takes a lot to bring him down. In saying that, he is still just a standard vampire without any unique enhancements. He was just physically big and strong when he was turned, so it does make him quite a threat, but not extraordinary. Number 12. Jaro Talos. The brother of Danat Talos in Blade Trinity, the not so impressive third installment of the franchise, he is one of the film's primary villains. As a vampire, Jaro possesses the standard suite of enhanced abilities typical of his kind, including the increased strength, speed and durability. These traits make him a competent fighter, capable of holding his own in combat against both humans and other vampires. However, compared to the more powerful and influential characters in Blade, Jaro's abilities and impacts are relatively modest. Number 11. Priest. Priest is a skilled and competent fighter within the Blood Pack, possessing the standard enhanced abilities of a vampire but lacking any unique powers or enhancements that would make him truly exceptional. His role is more that of a reliable team member rather than a standout individual, and his early death in Blade 2 reflects his limitations when faced with stronger adversaries like the Reapers. While he is strong by human standards, Priest doesn't rank highly in terms of raw power or importance compared to the other vampires in the film. Number 10. Jaro Grimwood. The massive, physically powerful vampire who serves as the muscle for Danat Talos in Blade Trinity, basically her enforcer. I just call him the Triple H vampire. His strength and durability make him one of the most dangerous vampires in the film, capable of taking on nearly any opponent with brute force. While he does lack the special powers or maybe the intricate personality of other villains in the Blade series, his role as a relentless enforcer and his imposing presence make him a significant threat to Blade and his allies. Number 9. Danat Talos. The leader of the vampire faction in Blade Trinity, Danat is cunning, manipulative, and has the typical vampire abilities of enhanced strength and speed. She's actually a good villain, I'll give her that, and Parker Posey was believable in her role. Danat was set on resurrecting or reawakening Drake, aka Dracula. However, she relies more on her intelligence and leadership rather than raw power and combat, and to be honest, that's not something that's really hidden at all throughout the entirety of the Blade movie. Number 8. Christa Star. A character from the Blade series, Christa Star is a former soldier who becomes a vampire, a character defined by her strength, resourcefulness and the fact she's not the standard evil vampire. As a former soldier, she brings a unique perspective to the Blade universe because she can balance her enhanced abilities with the tactical and combat experience she took from being a soldier, which makes her a very strong offensive vampire. It's for that reason she's so high up on this list. I didn't like Blade the TV series, but Christa is a good character, so she deserved to be placed on this list at number 8. Number 7. Dieter Reinhardt. Anytime Ron Perlman shows up for a role, I end up liking the character he plays. Maybe because I think Ron is a really cool guy. Reinhardt is a powerful and skilled vampire with significant combat experience, serving as the leader of the Blood Pack in Blade 2. His strength, resilience and combat abilities make him a dangerous adversary, particularly due to his intense rivalry with Blade. You could tell how much he was biding his time to take Blade out. However, his arrogance and overconfidence proved to be his greatest weakness, leading to his eventual downfall. Great character, love Ron Perlman. Number 6. Nissa Damaskinos. A pure-blood vampire and a daughter of Eli Damaskinos, she possesses significant strength, agility and combat abilities, more so than most vampires due to her blood status, making her a favourable fighter. However, her loyalty to her father and her clan is tested as she uncovers the darker truths about the Reaper threat and her father's role in its creation. She's torn between that loyalty and her morals due to the conflict the revelation has caused, in saying that, if you want to go by sheer power alone, Nissa is absolutely levels above the majority of vampires. She develops a mutual respect with Blade and was holding to her side of the agreement. Unfortunately, it wasn't the case for many of the Blood Pack. Number 5. Michael Morbius. Dr. Michael Morbius. So many people forget that Morbius is a big part of the Blade story. Well, not everyone, but some do. He was the first engineered vampire, transformed through a scientific experiment gone wrong in an attempt to cure his rare blood disease. Morbius has superhuman strength, speed, and also a form of echolocation, along with a hunger for human blood. While strong, his powers are more science-based than mystical. He also wants to protect humanity, despite his thirst, and has often aligned himself with the vampire hunter Blade when the situation required it. Blade grew to understand Morbius more as time went on, as they both shared the same struggle to resist human blood. Number 4. Eli Damaskinos. The very ancient, creepy looking vampire that looks like he belongs in the Strain series, Damaskinos' true power lies in his vast knowledge of vampire lore and history. His understanding of vampire biology, genetics, and weaknesses is unparalleled, allowing him to manipulate these aspects to his advantage. As a pure-blood vampire elder, he wields significant influence within the vampire nation, using his vast knowledge of vampire lore to pursue his vision of a superior vampire race. His creation of the Reapers, however, reveals the dangers of his ambition, leading to his eventual downfall and the near destruction of his people. Number 3. Deacon Frost, Lamagra. I was back and forth in deciding whether to place Deacon in 3rd or 2nd, but I went with 3rd place with very little margin in between. Deacon is driven by an intense desire for power and recognition, and he deeply resents the pureblood vampires who look down on him for being a turnblood. He orchestrates a ritual that requires the sacrifice of 12 pure-blood vampire elders. The ritual is both a symbolic and literal act of rebellion against the existing vampire order, as Frost uses the blood of these elders to summon and absorb the essence of Lamagra. The ritual culminates in Frost's transformation, where the essence of Lamagra merges with his body, granting him unprecedented power. He's stronger, quicker, can regenerate his limbs in mere seconds, and can manipulate blood. It makes him near unstoppable. Number 2. Jared Nomac. If you've ever seen The Strain, then it might interest you to know that the Strigoi were based off Jared Nomac's physiology, as they have the same design creator in Guillermo del Toro. Nomac is the first Reaper, a new breed of vampires created through genetic engineering by the ancient vampire Eli Damaskinos. Damaskinos intended to create a superior race of vampires that could overcome the traditional weaknesses of their kind, such as their vulnerability to sunlight and their dependence on human blood. His motivation to destroy the vampire race comes from being created purely as a weapon, and then discarded when it was discovered his genetic makeup would eventually cause him to physically deteriorate and die. His heart was also surrounded by bone, which made him very difficult to kill. Number 1. Drake. The original vampire, Drake, also known as Dracula, is the most powerful vampire in the Blade universe. He possesses immense physical strength, shape-shifting abilities, and is nearly invulnerable. His ancient bloodline grants him resistance to the vampire weaknesses, such as sunlight, making him the ultimate predator. Drake is identified as the creator of all vampires, the source from which the vampire race descended from. His origins date back thousands of years, far beyond recorded history. He's not a product of viral infection or genetic mutation. He is a supernatural being whose existence defies conventional understanding. He can shapeshift into a monstrous form, which further enhances his strength and speed. Drake also believed in honor and worthiness. Anyone who defeats him is deserving of their victory. He shapeshifts into Blade when he knows he's dying in order to let Blade escape, as a sign of mutual respect. The most powerful vampire for a reason, and rightly takes his place at number 1. And that's all for today, guys. That is my list. The most powerful vampires from Blade, ranked from 1 to 18. Let me know if you disagree with any of my choices in the comment section below. If I left anyone out, I'm really sorry. Make sure to let me know that as well. I'll chat to you all very soon.